Okay, so in this video, we're going to go over what tables are in MySQL. And I'm not going to be using MySQL for this. I'm going to be using Google Sheets, which is just for creating spreadsheets here. If you want to follow along, you can search for Google Sheets and just open that up. But you don't need to follow along with this video, just watch for the information in it. And here I'm going to click on blank spreadsheet. So let's look at what we notice about spreadsheets right here. So you can see at the top here we have different columns, and then on the left here we have different rows. So a column is used for storing specific types of data. So let's give some headings here. We can do ID and then name, and we can also do a number here for their favorite number. Or actually let's call this number like their phone number. So for ID here, I'm going to give this the ID of 1, and I'm going to fill in some basic default data here. So the name will be Bob and the number will just be 1234. Now notice here we have this ID column, and each ID here has to be unique in our database or in our table. And why we need to have a unique column in each table is because each table requires a primary key. And the primary key is used for linking one table to another, but we'll cover this later on. For now, all you need to know is we need one column that always has unique values in it, meaning we can't have one in this row and then one again in this row. It won't work. We need to have a different value in the second row. So we'll use 2 here. And let's create a new person called John, and his number will be 5678. So now we have our first table with 2 people in it and their number. So let's go ahead and create a second table on this side. So this we'll use as a orders table. So this first table here is for customers, and the second table we're using it for orders. So here at the top, I'm going to create ID again. Remember here, even though we're naming both ID, they're unique to each table. So this ID is not referencing this ID. They're separate values. And then the second column I'm going to create here are products. So these are the products that were purchased. And we can also store price, for example, here. And then in this last column, we actually want to store something called customer ID, and this can be named whatever you want it, but I'm naming it customer ID because it's referencing the ID in our customer table here. So this is how we keep track of which person made which order. So here I'm going to give an ID of 1 because this is the first entry here, but since this is the primary key, we can have any value in here as long as it's unique. But most of the time we just number them in order, like the first entry will be 1, the second entry will be 2, and so on. So let's create an order here. The first person ordered a ball and the price is like $2.50. And here for the customer ID, remember this column is how we're linking one table to another. So for the customer ID, we want to put the ID of the customer that made this order. So here, let's say, for example, John made this order. We'll put the customer ID of 2 here. Now, why is this important? Let's say we had a huge table here and Bob made 5 different orders. We can't have a separate column here called orders and start storing 5 different values inside of here. Each column is only meant to store one value. So the way we can separate this out is in our second table. In our second table, we can create as many orders as we want, and for the customer ID here, we just put that same ID in. So here we can see the ID of 2 for 3 values here, or 3 fields. And let's say they ordered a bat. The bat costed 5. Now we'll enter a new row here. We'll say they ordered a glove, and the glove costed 7. So now because we have this customer ID field, we can say that John ordered all of these items because we put the same customer ID in all of these. And this is just a good way of storing data across a huge application where you might have 1,000 different customers and 10,000 different orders. And yeah, this just keeps it all in check. So in the next video, we'll look at how we can create something like this in the actual MySQL software, and how we can do things like pull values out of here if we want to check something. And yeah, we'll do all of that stuff in the next video. But for now, I hope everyone understands how tables work. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.